this, like right before our show started, of what this Washington team and what this New York team are going to be, because I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they look today. Well, let's start with Washington.
Okay.
You know, technically coming into it, the underdogs in this situation, but the talk of the Quidditch world right now is that this is one of the favorites for the title, and I am huge in favor of that. I think this team is super duper talented, but I'm curious what they look like today, because last year super talented but inconsistent in performance. Are they going to make that jump this year, and how are these additions like Zane Baila and Heather Farnan really going to do for this team in the beating game if it's going to make that jump?
Yeah, for sure. And, it is a lot of the same roster, but this is a roster that for all of its potential and some really high highs, like taking down Boston for the first time in their history, also got swept by New York, dropped games to Rochester, dropped games to Charlotte. So, they need to prove something because it is a lot of the same players. You mentioned those new beaters coming in. We're going to see how they use them within their beater core. But it's really up to these chasers. This is the best chaser core in the country. They need to come out this weekend and show it.
Oh, they're so good. I mean, Brian Mulcahy, Justin Cole, Tyler Trudeau, Julia Baer, Rachel Heald. And so many more players. It just makes them frightening. But they have a really tough test in this New York Titans team. Last year's runner-up team in the entire league. They won the East last year. But they're really different, and especially in their quaffle game. They have John Jackson and Lindsay Morello, who've been really the anchor for this team for a long time, really held this team together. I mean, last year 40 goals combined between those two players. But after that, I mean, we're talking 9 goals across other players, maybe 11 goals across other players from this team. No Taylor Crawford, no Michael Parada, no JC Arancibia. It's a totally different team this year. It's going to be interesting to see what this chaser game looks like in that world. What are we going to get from Mark Lee? What are we going to get from new players like Byron Ing, Leo Freed? I think there's so much variability with this team, but the ceiling is really high.
Right, and I think that kind of goes to the final thing I'm so excited for tonight is to see some of these key college players that are getting integrated on both sides of this ball. You mentioned Byron Ing, you mentioned Leo Freed. They're definitely going to be contributors in the quaffle game for New York. Looks like Byron is getting the start here based on the lineup. Maybe he's just talking to the team, but, I mean, that's a big statement for New York.
That's Jason.
I apologize. That is Jason. And, on the other side of the ball, we talked about Heather Farnan already coming in. She was a dynamic force who was playing 30 minutes a game for a Maryland team that made the Final Four. Now she has a real test because across the pitch are a couple of the best beaters in the sport. Devin Lee, Rachel Ayala Silver, fresh off her call up to the national team. She's deserved every minute of that. She should be the best beater on this pitch. If she's not, it should be Devin Lee, who took over MLQ championships after not playing the whole summer and kind of spearheaded that run to the finals.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, those two are really, going to be what builds this beating core around it. A lot of young talent in it with Jason Ing, with Tessa Mullins making her first MLQ appearance for New York Titans. And so it's going to be what Devin Lee does. It's going to be what Rachel Ayala Silver does. And it's going to be CJ Jr. really spearheading that beating attack and seeing how they attack with it and see what we're going to get moving forward. We have our starters on the line. We're about to get started with the game. Starters are for New York. At keeper, it's John Jackson. At chasers, Mike Lee, Lindsay Morella, Molly Potter. At beater, it's Jason Ing and Devin Lee. For Washington, at beaters, it's Katrina Hicks and Zane Baila. At the keeper, it's Justin Cole. And at chasers, it's David Littleton, Brian Mulcahy, and Rachel Heald.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Zane is just doing the runoff or if he'll be staying in the game, because that is a huge ask for a player who hasn't played 2 years to come out and make a statement here against a very good New York group.
100%. Alex Amdahl appears to be our head rep for this game, and we're about to just get started right now. Or not, Jump the gun. Oh, there we go.
And, interesting, we've talked about, the inconsistency of Washington. Tyler Trudeau, their head coach, choosing to start himself on the bench in this game, maybe get a help with the flow of the game and be able to make some adjustments for his team.
I mean, with their depth in that chaser game, they can totally do that, though. And there's a run-up. David Littleton's going to win the ball by a lot here. And it looks like they're going to potentially have bludger control of this as Zane Baila and Katrina Hicks got bludger control. And Hicks is going to sub immediately for Melissa Smith. So Zane Baila is going to play that starting shift.
Yep, and it is going to be Mark coming out of New York here early.
Interesting. It's going with that Mark defense. It's Justin Cole with Quaffle right back to the top to Heald. Oh, big catch from Devin Lee in the beater game. Heald gets pressured. She gets beat, but passes off to Cole, and that is a turnover.
Wow, and right off the bat, Devin Lee says, hey, welcome back to Quidditch, Zane.
All right, it's Mike Lee starting with the ball, pressured by Cole. Lee taking it far on the left edge of the field, trying to beat Cole. Cole make the wrap, and he forces the turnover. Littleton gets beat, though, in the zone, so Mike Lee can pick it up. Now driving on Hield, now driving on Cole. He shoots. He scores. First goal of the game is for the New York Titans, 10-0.
But there's going to be no budgets back because the extremely aggressive way Devin played that. They are going to buy some time here, and he is able to get his ball back.
It's a huge play. All right, Rachel Ayala Silver coming into the game, aim for New York, as well as Yanko. Tried with his last name before, or not yet. All right, Quaff over to Hield.
Yep, and it is going to be a marked defense with nobody at hoops.
And it'll be interesting to see what they do. They're trying to put a lot of pressure on Rachel, not let her get downfield. Cole putting pressure. Devin Lee blocks a beat. Cole shot. No good. It missed for the far right. It's going to go out of bounds. It's going to be New York ball. Zane Biella makes a really aggressive beat behind the hoops. He's not going to be able to get these bludgers back. Ayala Silver has it, and now John Jackson can start putting pressure. Jackson over to Yanko. Yanko to Morella behind the hoops, covered by Hield. Over to Lee. Mike Lee faking. Mike Lee wrapped. His shot hits the crossbar and no good.
Big hit there by Cole in open space. But, I didn't love what I saw from Cole in that first position. I hate a flat-footed shot. If you want to hit the lane and make that mid-ranger, you want to have some, momentum behind you. Because he was flat-footed, first of all, it gives Jackson more time because it doesn't have as much velocity behind it. It's also just harder to make it accurate.
Yeah, and they're having, I think, a hard time really moving the ball against this New York mark. They're trying to go straight through the middle every single time. The New York beaters are winning battles, and it's causing problems. And Zane Biella gets beat, but Justin Cole drives. He passes over to Mulcahy, who can't handle the pass. He loses his broom. Yanko immediately picks it up. He's going to drive. Breaks the tackle from Littleton. He's going to keep going all the way to the hole, and an easy goal for Yanko.
Yeah, and right in front of the play, Melissa Smith feels like she has to clear Lee to have a chance at making a play on the quaffle. Lee just catches her bludger, walks away with it. Devin Lee is all over this pitch right now. It's why they can run their marked defense, and it's why they're scoring goals.
It's 20-0 already at the start of the game. Mulcahy going behind the hoops. I'm curious about the Mulcahy going behind those on each play so far. He hasn't really done much. Definitely another huge catch. This bludger blocked by Cole. Cole drives. He's trying to find Mulcahy, who dodges a beat. No, he doesn't. It is a beat on Mulcahy. Can't get it off. Here comes John Jackson the other way. Jackson slows it down.
Yeah, and this is getting scary for Washington. I wonder when that first bludger switch is going to happen because these two are not hanging with Lee and IL Silver.
All right, Michael Johnston Jr. coming into the game for New York at Chaser. A lot of pressure from these New York beaters. Quaffle over to Molly Potter on the far right. Back to Jackson. Biella gets beat behind the hoops. Pass over to Mike Lee. Mike Lee faking one way, getting wrapped by Cole, but he's fighting through it. And no good. Brian Mulcahy going to jump on the ball. Good defense from Washington.
Yeah, Cole's made a couple big stops. That's the really only reason Washington's in this game because other than that, it's Devin Lee sitting in their keeper zone beating people out.
I think Cole's in this pile, though, so it's not going to be any type of turnover. There's not much Brian Mulcahy can do. He's sitting at the bottom of the pile, and he has no idea he's been beat.
Yeah. But, they need some new ideas against this mark. Ways you can beat mark. Mid-range shots. You can make passes to the unmarked chaser, and you can use some tap beats. I haven't seen a lot of opportunity for tap beats. The reason that is because Devin Lee is meeting these beaters just inside of half pitch. And eventually you need to win an exchange.
And what's interesting is there's not even running screens or options or anything to get something moving. It's very stagnant. It's very stand in one place, pass the ball to the corner, nothing happens, get it back, scramble, and then take a crazy shot and try to have Cole and Mulcahy make a crazy play. But it's not efficient. It's not really getting the opportunities they want.
Right. So the question now is, when does the beater shift happen for Washington? And also, when do we see Tyra Trudeau and Julia Bear?
It is going to be a turnover here. I guess they're calling Mulcahy beat, which means it's going to be immediate turnover. Jackson's going to have the quaffle right at the top of the zone. He is definitely going to slow this down, though, as Zane Biela's still there.
Yep. And we're still seeing a 2-2 here out of Washington.
And I expect that moving for the rest of the game. I mean, that's their bread and butter, and I don't think they're going to do anything different. Johnston Jr. over to Jackson.
Johnston Jr., who hasn't played Quidditch in quite some time, part of some of those really in their prime UT programs, played a summer for Boston.
All right. Do love that summer for Boston. All right, Jackson up top to Johnston. Pressured by Littleton. Over to Potter. Potter can't handle the pass. A little bit outside of her from Johnston. Now throws it up to nobody. Devin Lee gets beat here, but Johnston's able to field it back. No, where is the quaffle? There it is. It's with Justin Cole.
Yeah, and, that's what we were talking about with New York. As they get deeper into the depth, their first line looked pure. But, we knew those players were pure. Now they need to be able to play at the level that we know Washington's quaffle game can play. And that was just a little sloppy there on that possession.
It definitely was. But you still have Jackson out there. You still have Lee out there. Those are the big firecrackers for this offense other than Morella. So they should be the ones to be able to get things done. All right, Littleton with quaffle going all the way back up to the Hield at the top. Heald putting pressure, looking for Cole. Cole going into the air and getting a goal. 20-10.
And I hated seeing Cole in the lane taking shots. That is where I want Cole. I want Cole finding area around the hoop. We got Sam Hamowitz's retirement a couple weeks ago. This is now the best wing chaser in the sport, and he's showing off.
Oh, man, he's beautiful at doing it. Here comes one of your little ones. Leo Freed coming onto the field at keeper for New York. Almost at Harvard. That would have been a little weird. It's Frank Minson and Kerry Donnelly at beater. Cody Nardone dodges a beat. Nardone's going to put pressure on Freed. Freed trying to get past Cole. Spins, but it gets wrapped up hard. Throws it off to nobody, straight up out of bounds.
Welcome to the East Division, Leo.
You can't do those little moves against these type of chasers.
No. Beater subs also coming in for Washington with Cody Nardone in the game, as well as Heather Farnan making her debut for Washington.
And Nardone was actually the beater on that last play to really put the pressure on Devin Lee and the New York beaters, because he was able to push him back, allowed Cole to get space and get open.
Yeah, our producer, Nick Blabonsky, last summer called Cody Nardone the next Max Havlin. He was saying it a little bit extremely, but the point being that Cody Nardone is have a huge summer if this team's going to win a title.
Yeah, I mean, he looks the part right now. He looks like he's in really good shape and looks like he's ready to really make it a big impact. Heald with the quaff on the left side. Ooh, big tackle there from Minson, but Nardone's right back to his feet. Cole. Minson gets beat. Cole over to Heald. Heald fumbles the pass, but gets hit. Shot blocked by Johnston. Johnston's going to race it down, but gets beat here on the edge of this play. Now Mulcahy's got it. Wrapped up by Iannucci, but break couldn't tackle him. Mulcahy finding Littleton. Littleton bobbles the pass. He shoots. He scores!
And, there was some confusion in the beater game where I think New York's beaters thought they were already on offense. And they kind of missed that Heather Farnan had snuck in there, made the beat to force the quick turnover. And, I think Heather Farnan's really appreciating being able to have the energy to play on offense, because for Maryland, with the amount of minutes she had to play, she sometimes had to just sit back and, conserve a little energy.
All right, 20-20 the score. Johnston. There's a beat here. Here comes Littleton on the fast break the other way, and he's going to easily score. Sorry for that, everyone. 30-20. Cody Nardone and Heather Farnan have made a major impact in this beater game. Minson faking at Farnan. Here's a wrap from him. Okay, he breaks it. He shoots. He scores. That's Leo Freed from the MQC season. We saw 30-30. We get some technical difficulties with Ethan Sturm. He'll be back on the call in just a second. 30-30 to the score. Subs coming for Washington. Here comes the coaching staff into the game. It's Tyler Trudeau, Julia Baer, Riley Stars, and Dale Farnan coming in for Washington.
And a big kind of play there by Freed, shaking Brian Mulcahy, one of the better point defenders in the sport. But I think he was pretty deep into his shift. I think he was starting to feel his legs catch up to him a bit.
All right, Trudeau gets beat. Iannucci's going to pick it up. He's going to pass all the way over to Morella. Morella is going to field this on the ground. She's going to kick it back out to Iannucci. Iannucci's going to look to drive. Gets past Trudeau. Fakes. He scores.
And, I really like what New York's doing here.
Wait.
We're going to get a talk, but while they're talking about it, I really like what New York's doing here is that they're mixing in their first line, real star players to make sure they can integrate everybody into this team. Lindsay Moreau popped out a little bit earlier, as you were saying, than John Jackson and Mike Lee did, so that she could pop back in now that they're kind of fully into a second line and kind of offer that veteran experience. She looks so comfortable there in the corner with the ball.
All right, 40-30 to score. The goal is good there from Iannucci. I was really excited to see Vinny Iannucci this upcoming season. I remember the Super Series last year here between New York, Rochester, and Charlotte. He was a spark plug and a big player for them. So it's really exciting to see him getting a lot more minutes in this team.
Yeah, and also going to be one of their seekers as we get into the seeking game, which is going to be a really big part of this series.
And he had a really good championships. All right, Farnan with Quaffle left side, passing way behind a Bear. Bear trying to find a cutting Stars, but couldn't. This ball is going to go right to the edge, and Trudeau's going to keep it from going out of bounds.
We're just over 8 minutes into this game now.
There's no bludgers here. Farnan gets beat from way downtown, but Stars is going to pick it up. He fakes. He drives past one. He drives past another, and Stars scores. 40-40.
Yeah, the beat kind of had paused the offense there, and I think it kind of caught Leo Freed flat-footed. Riley Stars was able to come up with the rebound and put it away.
All right, subs coming in again for New York. It's Tessa Mullins and CJ Jr. at beater. Back with John Jackson at keeper.
Two Emerson players from very different generations. Kind of exciting to see them play together.
Oh, yeah, it is. All right, Jackson on the right side. Jr. gets beat immediately by Nardone. Iannucci with Quaffle trying to try past Trudeau. Shot is no good, but Morella's going to clean up the rebound. Over to Paguada. Paguada driving down the edge, behind the hoops. Back out to Morella. Fields it. Morella gets beat. Definitely before. It's going to be a turnover, DC ball.
Yeah, I think it's going to be no harm, no foul there. You see kind of New York going back to their bread and butter against zone they were running all last summer, which is hitting that player in the corner and kind of ripping that shot. Last summer was Sierra Incibia. He's one of the best shooters in the sport. It's a big ask for some of these other players, someone like Vincent Iannucci, to kind of play that role. Gave it his best shot there, couldn't make the shot fall.
And we'll see what they adapt to. It's still early in the season. See if that offensive strategy adapts as we move through the year. But I think these players are showing that they can step up into these moments.
Yep.
Okay, here comes that consistent pair of beaters for DC we talked about. Burgess and Hicks into the game. Stars over to Bear on the left side. Bear, pressured by Jackson, tries to go across. Wrapped up by Jackson, but kicks it to Stars. Stars, pressured by Yanko. Back to Bear. Bear, pressured now by Yanko. Kicks it to Stars. Stars up top to Trudeau, but he's defended by Iannucci and no good. Here comes Morello the opposite direction. She's just weaving through everyone. Slows it down.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that, New York's using this mark here against Washington is Washington loves throwing those jump balls, and they've done a really good job of contesting them. I've seen Lindsay contest a couple, and that's a big one there from Iannucci.
All right, Jackson. Morella at the top, covered by Bear. Here's to Yanko. Yanko, back to Paguada. Paguada driving on Trudeau. Paguada getting to the edge, but wrapped up hard by Trudeau. He throws it to nobody here, but Jackson's going to chase it down. It's going to be a reset.
Yep. Kind of getting that consistency back in the game here in Jackson.
Jackson makes a move past Farnan, goes over the top of Stars. And it looked like it was in, but it's going to be close.
But Burgess's beat came flying across, and I think might have contacted Jackson before he was able to dunk it through.
It was a really nice drive, though, from Jackson. He didn't have a lot of time. There's not much more he could do on that, and he just went in and it went hard at the paint.
Yeah. One of the things that's concerning me a bit about Washington right now is just that outside of their keepers, Trudeau and Cole right around the hoops, nobody's really making the hits.
It's very strange.
He missed one, and you definitely saw Dale Farnan absolutely whiff on one there on Jackson.
Yeah, and unlike them, last year, really one of the more physical teams across the season, and especially with how fast-paced this game has been, which is very different from the New York of past, you'd expect a lot of hits, and there really hasn't been any from this DC team.
Yeah, and you're right. This is a completely new look New York. This is a New York that's playing a high mark and a fast-paced transition offense.
Okay, Paguada's going to start immediately back with it. Kicks it to Morella. Morella passing over to Yanko, but can't find the pass. Bear's going to intercept it.
Yeah, bit of a hopeful pass there, and Washington's able to knock it down. And, Burgess and Hicks kind of got thrown together last summer. Hicks was basically returning to the sport. They had no experience together. They kind of figured it out. They've now played an entire club season together in DCQC, and it'll be really interesting to see how they can grow as a beating pair, actually having a full year under their belts.
All right, Trudeau now. Right side. Moving down to Stars. Stars pressure. Back to Trudeau. Clears Paguada. Here comes Trudeau. Pressured by Jackson. Trudeau still looking for something. New York has ended up into a tree zone for a moment there. That was interesting.
I think it was just the transitions off of that beat attempt that made things look a little weird.
All right, Jackson gets beat, which he can at the hoop, so that meant nothing. Trudeau. Hicks gets beat here. Trudeau's driving. Trudeau's all the way to hole, hit by Jackson. Trudeau trying to find anyone to dish to, but there was no one on that side hoop. The ball gets loose. It goes to the edge of the out of bounds. Dale Farnan chases it down. He's pressured here, wrapped up by Paguada, it looks like. Ball's loose on the ground. Yanko's got it. Yanko now pressured by Trudeau. There's going to be an out of bounds call, I believe.
This game's been getting wild out here.
It's getting chippy, too. Both teams are hitting hard on every play.
Yeah, and the beater play hasn't really stopped through this entire situation. It's being doled out now by the ARs, but yeah, like you said, chippy as anything, and the hits coming there. John Jackson, his old club league teammate in Tyler Trudeau takes him down to the ground point blank.
Yeah, it is getting some really physical action. Okay, we're getting restarted. It's gonna be an inbounds for Tyler Trudeau. He's able to push Yanko out of bounds here.
Yeah, and on that last possession, Washington ran a really nice play. They got the ball behind, so that the beaters could come up and tap it for Trudeau as the ball is zipping back to him. Jackson's rotation was so quick. You can tell that this is a drilled mark defense the way they want to play it, because Jackson's taken very specific times where he stepped up, where he hasn't stepped up. And, it's really confounded Washington. A lot of these club players have just been playing against zone for a year at this point, exclusively almost. And, hey, send them something different and see what they're going to do about it.
And a good mark works. I love mark defenses. I think they're really, really effective. And when you run a good mark, it works consistently. It creates a lot of havoc, and it forces you, and it says, listen, we're going to win one-on-ones, and we're going to beat you in these plays. The really only way to beat it is really hitting shots, and DC isn't taking shots at this point.
But you do need your beaters to win, because if your beaters aren't winning, a mark breaks down in a hurry. But that's what the New York beaters are doing. We've seen really strong play out of all 6 that we've seen on the field so far.
Yeah, and it's been a really exciting start. Okay, there's some confusion in the beater game within the referee situation. We'll see what – it looks like nothing is coming, just moving Hicks and Burgess back to the hoops. Okay, Trudeau on the out-of-bounds mark is going to inbound here.
About 11 minutes into this one here. Of course, 20 minutes until we get to the set score.
Over to Stars. Stars shooting.
Yep.
That was good. It did go in. Just hit the bottom of the hoop and trickled in. Nice shot from Stars.
Yeah, and, Stars has been, on the outskirts of these cores for a long time at this point. And he's always an energy spark plug when he gets on the field. And that was what we were talking about. We were talking about hitting some shots against Mark. And unlike what we saw from Cole early in the game, Stars hit that shot with momentum, and it was a strong, confident shot. And the hoop did him a favor because he took a strong, confident shot.
And we do that, it works. Goal's good. 50-40, Washington with the lead.
So Freed's now going to sub in as a chaser. So now Jackson and Freed are going to play on the field together.
As well with them is Byron Ing. So they're going really athletic on this line. Jackson, Morella, Ing, and Freed.
And definitely some youth along with their 2 veteran players. Morella, a long pass there to Freed.
Ooh, Junior make a big hit on Smith there. Allows Jackson to get an open look. Mullins makes a beat on Stars. Here comes Jackson. Trudeau tries to make the hit. Shot is no good. There's a foul, though.
Yeah, good ball movement. Really drew the beating out. Gave Jackson that lane. A good hit. And we'll see if the ball's going to stay here with Ing.
I wish I could tell you which hand direction is the call for with refs. I really don't know, so I don't know who's this on.
It's all right. Well, we'll wait for the call. We're lucky to have a great crew out here today.
Yeah, that's a really good crew. Amadal.
So it's an illegal contact penalty
on Junior. He gets beat, finished the tackle, can't do that. It's going to force the bludger back to Washington. So 1 minute penalty, yellow card for Junior going to the box.
Yeah, and depending on where the bludgers are, I think Washington might be able to run off of this.
I mean, Burgess is all the way down the field.
Yeah.
The question is, where's Mullins? And she's directly in front of the top hoop.
But does she have a bludger is the secondary question.
She does, but you have Trudeau out in front of everyone, so you have a potential ability to do something.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of New York behind the hoops and in bad spots.
Not a ton of communication between Washington and what they want to do here, so maybe they're not going to try to get out and run.
Oh, but I really want them to.
I feel you on that.
They're not going to.
No. If you're going to run a fast break there, you're going to talk about how you're going to run the fast break during the stoppage. But here, now it's a delayed transition attempt. Trudeau going through Freed.
Oh, blocked by Jackson. Bear making the block. Push from behind from Jackson, but there's going to be no, there is a call. And Trudeau really wanted that call. Oh, I'm guessing it's going to be a hit from behind on Jackson, who pushed Bear, and Bear went down.
Yeah, we talked about how important Jackson has been, stepping up and making the adjustments in the zone in this Mark defense. And he makes another huge play there, but unfortunately, it's not going to work out for him in the end.
All right, Jackson not happy with the call at all. He's going to give keeper headband to Leo Freed here.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this quaff is going to go right back to Bayer here. But she's got so much room to work with.
It's also crazy how many Boston connections there are on this pitch right now with Boston not playing in this series.
We love Boston. I'm a pro-Boston commentator.
John Jackson, a Boston College grad. Julia, of course, she's about to have the ball. Won a title in Boston.
Tyler Trudeau. Brian Mulcahy. All right, here comes Bear driving. Shot blocked. Trudeau
comes flying out of nowhere.
To Mulcahy. Oh, my God, Brian. Goal's good.
He hit every side of that hoop he possibly could have hit on the way through.
Still went through. Doesn't matter how, it still went through. 60-40. Mulcahy making the wrap on Free. Brings him down. There's the Mulcahy we love. Pressure now. Ings just going to take a full reset. That's a double reset. He can't go over the keeper zone line.
Right. So the rule change in MLQ this year is that now your own keeper zone, once you go over it, is a hard boundary. So if you ever go back over it, it's an automatic turnover. I was about to say that Ing made such a smart and calculated play getting himself out of danger there, just went a little too far when he really didn't have to.
That's the youth right there. Yeah. That's the youthfulness, not knowing exactly what to do and how to understand
and first
the rules.
game with this rule set as well.
Okay, there's something going on in the beater game between Zane Bila and Melissa Smith. Nope, just PSI between the bludgers, it looks like. I know what we're checking for air when we are squeezing the bludger like that.
And New York is going to use their timeout because Washington, after that really slow start, has come rearing back into this game.
60-40 the score right now, and they have been flying this game. And I know Devin Lee and Rachel Ayala-Silver for a long time. This Junior and Mullins pair did not look as good as the other pairs that we've seen in this game. And I think it's huge. I mean, you got to get Ayala-Silver and Lee back out there to at least stop the bleeding.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, we've talked so much about this mark defense that New York is playing. And, you know, it's not just that Devin Lee and Rachel Ayala-Silver and Frank Minton are good. They're all very athletic. And you need to be flying around the pitch when you're the beater in this mark defense. And CJ Jr. is a very, very solid beater. He always has been. But he likes to block in his exchanges. He likes a little bit of a slower pace. He's not that player you want going all over the field everywhere.
Yeah, and it's killing their pace. And they're not offensively producing at the same output as they were. It was interesting because they went to that really young athletic line, and they just weren't getting the same like little things, the cuts and the movement and finding the spacing. It's almost like they tried to play the fast break game against Washington. That's going to be really hard against this Washington team.
Yeah, and, you know, it's so tricky because it's game one of your season, but so much is at stake already because you have to when do you cut lines? You don't want to cut lines in game one of the season. You want to get everyone experience. You want to figure out what you have on this field. You're only a few weeks into working together, but at the same time, this series means so much. You know, you win this series, you've got a leg up in the East Division for possibly going for the division title, something Washington's never done, something New York's only done once.
And you still have Boston and Charlotte on the horizon for both of these teams. That's not an easy schedule to get. There's very few easy games that you're going to find and easy wins. I mean, we saw Charlotte take games from multiple teams last year, and it makes this division really dangerous. It makes these games really important.
And I'm glad you mentioned Boston and Charlotte because next week at 4 o'clock, our series of the week will take us shipping up to Boston.
Let's go. Let's have some fun.
For a series between Forge and Aviators. I'll be there on the call. Harry will be there on the field. But
that's the hope.
We hope to see you there. Sorry, I shouldn't have made any assumptions. You might not make roster.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I think we're getting ready to get started here again.
I'm okay. He's just going to take the reset here. Goes back to Joe. I don't think that's a reset because it's off of a penalty. Correct. Good job, me. Way to know the rules. All right, Trudeau. Miss Smith is beating out Ing. Trudeau over to Bear. Back to Trudeau, but it's blocked by Freed. He's the keeper, so Trudeau can't make that push.
Freed did a real nice job sitting on that pass, knowing that Julia Bear was not at a shooting angle, so he did not need to be blocking the hoops.
All right, Devin Lee missed the beat on Smith. That's a tackle literally outside the zone from Mulcahy. Mulcahy gets his ball. He's trying to score. Finds Bear, and she scores. Oh, that was so pretty.
And, you know, that's what we were talking about with these young players. They're showing sparks of brilliance, but they're also making simple mistakes. Turning the ball over there is not something you ever want to do. And it's that rule set, right? It's that new fact that you can pressure someone right up at their keeper zone as they're exiting and put them under a lot of pressure very quickly.
Yeah, I love watching Washington make these press plays. It's really exciting. And Mulcahy, second shift, shakes off the anxiety and just flies out and was all over the field.
Mike Lee's back on the field. I think he's a player they wanted. Leo Freed goes high for the one-handed grab.
All right, backed up to Morella. That's just love watching crazy athletic plays like that. That's what Freed does. All right, Devin Lee throwing a bludger back to hit someone. I think he's just throwing a beat at nobody, quotation marks. But Devin Lee's just beating out literally everyone. Jackson's walking in, finds Morella. Morella's shot. Easy.
And that is bread and butter, New York at its finest. Lindsay Morella and John Jackson working up top. The way she just sits a step behind him a lot of the time just to fall into whatever space is needed, and such a crisp shot there.
But it was Devin Lee and Ayala Silver coming into the game, stopping the bleeding, and just beating out literally the entire Washington team.
Yeah, I mean, they have, we've said it since the beginning, they have to be the best beaters on this pitch if this team is going to win. And again, it's going to be Bila that they're up against.
With Farnan. So it's the Maryland pair. Bila faking, forces Lee to throw his bludger back, but nothing there. Trudeau, Quaff on the right side. Beat there by Lee. It's a great beat. Mike Lee picks it up. The Washington Beaters lost him. Mike Lee running down the field. He's going to score. 70-60. New York back into this game immediately.
You know, we have an old stat in Boston, max have-win goals. It's when the beater does literally everything and all the chaser had to do is run the ball down the field. That was a Devin Lee goal.
Man, I love those type of goals. Running straight lines are very fun.
And just like that, it's a game again. And it's, as you said, Devin Lee and Rachel Ayala-Silver coming on the pitch.
All right, this first line for Washington back out there. So Washington not going to any of its younger players. It's really just two lines. So it's Cole, Mulcahy, Heald, and Littleton again. And
that speaks to just how badly Washington wants this series.
All right, there's a beat on Lee. Farnon's going to be able to get control out of this play. Cole, left side. He's got Freed on him. Heald, directing traffic. Back to Heald with Quaffle. Heald over to Littleton. Littleton. To Cole, who cut inside. He gets beat there, gets the ball off. Mulcahy's fighting for it. There's a whistle.
The mind games Cole and Freed were playing with each other around those hoops was quite entertaining.
I think this is going to be throw after beat, which I think is the right call. Mulcahy's going to make the wrap on Lee. Gets immediately beat by a yellow silver. And it's going to be New York Quaffle.
But Farnon and Byla holding bludgeon control in a way that Byla and I believe it was Melissa Smith at the beginning of the game were struggling to against this pair.
I like what Washington's doing with their Quaffle game. Literally every time they are flaring a chaser right at the hoops to try to make a play. But Devin Lee immediately gets bludgeon control out of a play very easily against Byla.
A soft pass there out to Lee, but I guess he had the time for it.
Byla got beat again, so he's out of this play. Mike Lee now with it.
Farnon's still in the play, though, and she has a cannon for an arm.
Absolutely. Jackson to Annika Kim, her first minutes of the game. Kim.
Another really talented young player out of that Rutgers program.
She's a rookie, too.
Yeah.
Mike Lee. Up to Jackson. Ayala Silver clears out Byla. Beat is Farnon. Over to Freed. There's no bludgers in the middle. Freed wrapped up by Littleton. Down he goes. Loose ball on the ground. Mulcahy's just going to dive on it.
Yeah. And Freed's got to get used to that. These players are not going to miss their tackles.
No, they're not. And he has tried to just take easy, like literally barely sidestepping what he was doing in college. And everyone has hit him every single time in the first move.
And you mentioned Kim. Kim is the youngest player on a roster in the series.
Oh, it's just cool. We love that. That's awesome. All right, Washington taking out Byla goes to Nardone. I think it's the right move. I think Byla's, his highs are so high, but he's just not playing consistently enough, especially when Devin Lee's on the field.
Yeah, and you got to see you got 2 more games to play. You got to see what Nardone can do against Lee. They need that information.
Heald with Quaffle.
Wins an exchange with him, but I don't think it's going to be bludgeon control, though.
Yes, it is, as he beats another exchange here. Oh, good block from Devin Lee. Here comes Littleton shooting, blocked at the hoops. Fought off and won, I think, by Littleton. Kicks out to Cole. Cole tries to field it with his left hand. Now has it. Pressured by Lee. Over to Mulcahy. Mulcahy now trying to drive past Freed. Ooh, nice little sidestep. Another one. And trying to find Heald. Hit hard by a Freed. Passing up to Heald. No one's home. Littleton, though, making the chase. He's going to chase it down. Littleton trips on the back line. Pressured by Kim. Kim.
Oh, Littleton tried to throw it off of Kim to keep possession.
Oh my God,
I love it.
So cool. That's love the basketball play. Just so clever on the thinking.
And he's going to keep it.
That's a great play from David Littleton. I've never seen that. That was awesome to see. I don't know how rules work in this sport well enough to know what the actual call is, but that's really cool, and I think it should be Littleton's ball.
And, talking about all these connections in this game, we just saw Brian Mulcahy try to get past Leo Freed unsuccessfully. Leo Freed's first ever tackling practice, Brian Mulcahy was the one who came and taught him how to tackle.
These connections you have are just ridiculously silly at this point. It's almost like Quidditch is a small sport.
I mean, especially on the East Coast, and especially when it comes to Boston.
Oh, you're not wrong. I think they're just gonna. I think they're just communicating this with the New York bench. It's New York ball, so that the ruling is what Littleton did, throwing it off the player is just. It's a blue card.
So they're saying that there was that his intent of throwing it off that player was to make it go out of bounds. It's an interpretation. I'm not here to say whether it's the correct or incorrect one, but hey, that's why the refs are here to make those calls.
Yes, absolutely. They definitely know the rules better than I do. But I'm on the fan of the rule of cool, which means if it's cool, then you should let it happen sometimes.
Understood. Alrighty.
All right, New York's going to start with Quaffle. They have a power play to play here, and Kellen Cupid in the game at beater.
Yeah.
That is interesting to me.
I mean, he's been doing that for some time here for the Warriors. But, this is a big test because Nardone and Farnon have kind of had the best shift that I've seen from this Washington side so far. Also, a very short shift from Lee. I wonder if they're trying to save him for Snitch on pitch or if he's just a little low energy right now.
All right, Mike Lee with Quaffle on the right side. Over to Frank Minson, the coach.
Playing his second position of the day.
Pressured by Farnon. Nardone now putting pressure. Here's Mike Lee. Up to Freed. Oh, Cupid just lost his bludger. Over to Mike Lee.
Lee doesn't see.
Gets beat. Finds Minson. Minson fakes. Shoots. Ooh, great save by Cole.
Cole has saved so many points on the defensive end for Washington. a really nice defensive performance in the same way that John Jackson is giving an excellent defensive performance on the other side.
New beater in for Washington. That's Diana Howard.
With the Charlotte program last summer.
And Cole's going to have Quaffle at the top of the zone. Cole driving with beater pressure in front. Shot.
Oh, Freed gets a hand up.
Top hoop fell down there. Littleton wants it picked up. They did kill off the penalty, did Washington, so now they're going to be able to start max possession. Here's Farnan. Farnan over to Heald. That top hoop's still down. Farnan, or Heald. Oh, finds Littleton!
And that is what Washington's been trying to run all day against these marked defenses, just those long cuts.
And then their long cuts are really, really good because they're so athletic and they're so lanky and they're so tall and they're able to make play after play after play after play. So I'm curious what the call is on this play. No goal, I believe, beat before.
But it's still going to be Washington ball. I'm not sure Cole has a lot of passing options. I think Heald is still on Broom up top. I believe Farnan is as well. It's just Littleton that's not.
All right, so it's going to be a turnover? Littleton is not happy with the call. It's going to be a turnover here to New York. Interesting, because even though there was a winning, like he's beat before, I expected that they'd Cole would be able to chase down the ball, but I guess not. So it's going to be New York Quaffle. Leo Freed taking out a keeper's zone, immediately hit by Cole. Michael Lee's going to immediately get beat. Yes, he's beat.
Another great press out of Washington to force a turnover.
What? Just happened.
And Leo Freed has not been ready for this press that's been coming out of this Washington team. Cole basically went single-handedly there.
No, these young players have not been able to figure out how to handle those situations.
And we're about 30 seconds away from the intermission.
Oh. Well, so, look at that.
I mean, we've just been having so much fun out here.
That is a really good one. Great view. All right, it's going to be immediately back to New York.
I don't know.
I don't know. Something happened. A ref call. But there was no foul in the play. So Lexi Raffa going to come in for New York as they're getting ready for the snitch on pitch.
So interesting, Kellen Cupid's not going to be able to start at Seeker.
No, I guess not. I guess they might be.
Either is Leo Freed, so it must be Iannucci.
It must be Iannucci. All right, Minson driving. Oh, good catch from Mullins. Minson driving, getting past one, getting past another. He scores, Frank Minson.
You know, Minson, it's been a while since he's really playing primary Quaffle player. He is really very much in the old, kind of bowling ball battering ram through a defense.
I do like that type of chaser. Big fan of it.
Yeah. But he's so hard to tackle. He's so compact.
He's so low to the ground, and he knows how to and he's good at passing, so he knows how to handle those plays. He's able to get through people. He's able to break multiple tackles, and he can make something happen with the ball in his hands and right there getting the goal.
But I think there's a penalty coming that might overturn the goal.
No,
Oh, no, it must be a defensive penalty. I haven't seen the goal flip yet. It should be 7-7 once it does.
That's what I thought. I thought he just said goal's good.
Yeah, it must be a contact penalty. No. Because Rafa's going to the box, and that's going to undo the goal.
We'll have to figure out what
maybe
the
an
call
illegal
is.
screen.
I guess so. There is a lot of confusion right now with the reffing situation about exactly what the call is.
New York was able to get bludgeon control of that play. Very important for the start of the pitch play.
It was Mullins she made a great catch on that play that allowed the bludgeon turnover, and then they were able to chase it down.
Yeah. As you said, kind of a sticky first shift, so good to see her, finding her own in the second shift. We've talked a little about who New York's going to be starting at Seeker. I still don't see a single yellow headband on that sideline. As we mentioned, two of the people that we might expect to see are still on the pitch. I assume it's going to be Generate.
I think it's going to be Generate, too. He hasn't played a single shift in this game at Chaser, and I think he was really, really good for Maryland this year. I think they're going with him in that. And he was their big guy last year for it, too.
Yep. But Cooper's a tall task.
Cooper is a tall task. The question in this one is, do both teams just ignore it and just go for the Quaffle game?
The old League City strategy.
Oh, it's a great strategy. No, it's not.
Hey, it won them some games.
It does win some games sometimes. I'm really confused what the call is here.
It's just going to be that penalty on Rafa that's going to disallow the goal. So it's going to stay 7-6 in favor of Washington.
Okay. All right, there's going to be some subs coming here. This is going to be the last possession of the game. The countdown that you're seeing on the field is for last possession. So halftime will start after this possession for Washington.
And we get a subbing of the beater game. Hicks and Nardone on the field together.
It's Cole, Stars, Farnan, Heald.
Will we see a long, patient possession in an attempt to get bludger control here, or are they just going to look to get another goal on the board, go up 2?
I think what you need to do is just be decisive. Narda makes a hit on
yeah, Cupid ran right
It works
into
perfectly.
him.
Up to Heald for the pass. She can't field it.
Yep, and Minson touching the ball is instantly going to stop the period. And bludger control.
The question was Minson beat? Because I saw Nardone's bludger come flying in and hit Minson. So if Minson's beat here, does it stop the possession and get us into halftime?
If they never get possession, then no, it will not stop.
Okay.
If he picked it up and a half second later was beat, then yes, it will.
There are so many questions.
Regardless, we are in the intermission, and we have a great game playing out right now.
Oh, it's 70-60 right now at the 20-minute halftime. I'm going into the second half, which is the Snitch half. I believe the Snitch is worth 35. Set score 60.
Correct.
So the set score in this game is going to be 130. First team to 130 wins this one.
Yeah, the first time I saw that plus 60 show up on a scorecard today, I was just so happy, Those games were getting a little long.
They were getting a little long in USQ, but you know what? This is different. It's MLQ. Teams are more prone to score. We've already seen a lot of goals in this game and a lot of fast-paced goals in this game, and it's been a really exciting first half. Both teams coming out and flying all over the field. No stall game, no slow game. Just speed, athleticism, and fast-paced offense.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what plays out here because there's been a ton of physicality. People have struggled to score no bludgers. I expect all the bludgers to be on the seeker in a game so close. And if we could just see a full-on rugby fest going on in the middle of this field because, New York's been playing Mark already. They're ready to hit. And Washington's made all their hits when they've had to as well.
So, yeah, Washington definitely getting a lot better in the physicality game as the game went on, almost like shaking off the rust of getting into the MLQ season. And it's going to be interesting to see what Washington does and see what New York does coming into the shift. Who's seeking and what are they going with these chasing cores? Washington starting up not their biggest heavy-hitting core. Their biggest tackler out there is Cole. Oh, there's no Mulcahy on the field right now. Obviously no Sheridan for the city. There's no Littleton on the field. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in that physicality aspect.
So confusingly, I thought I saw Cupid flip to his yellow and then maybe realize he had to stay in the game. So it'll be interesting to see if he subs out right away. Starting seekers at the table are Generate and nobody yet from New York.
So I'm guessing it's got to be Cupid, but obviously Cupid is beating right now. Okay.
So he's going to try to, tap Rachel Heald and then get off the field? That's not going to be an option.
That'd be the hope.
Someone's got to put on yellow.
Okay, Freed. Delay is right now for Freed to get on the field. So second half is going to start with the Quaffle sitting on the ground with Cupid about to make the beat. We're getting ready for the second half.
And yeah, it is going to be, I think it's Paguada.
That's Paguada. And Cooper's starting right next to the box. Heald's going to be able to tap this ball. It's going to go immediately out of bounds. It's going to be New York ball. There is a fight for bludger right here, but Washington was able to get bludger control here. And the only bludger on the field is all the way back behind New York's hoops right now. So there's a lot of craziness. Here comes Paguada right at Cooper. They're right in front of us, so we're going to get a cock about it.
Big hit Mullins on Hicks there.
Jackson over to Morella.
And Ing's going to be coming in the beater game as well.
Yes. Burgess is going to beat out Paguada. Here's Jackson on the left side.
But like we said, does anybody want to try to go through anybody here in this game?
Ing gets beat out by Burgess. Oh, dodge from Paguada. Paguada then gets beat too.
Yeah. Paguada not getting too close so far. Let's see when the first switch
Here comes
happens.
Jackson. He drives. He scores. Jackson getting a screen from Molly Potter. Got an easy look, and he easily scored. 70-70 the score.
And New York is so well equipped for this period because Lindsay and Molly are both such talented players.
They are so talented. They knew exactly what to do in that situation. All right, Generate with some alone time with the Snitch. Getting tied up hard by Cooper. Pulls him off Broom. Cooper is a physical snitch.
Nobody has made a good shot at Cooper yet.
All right, here comes Cole. Cole driving past Minson all the way into Jackson, but he gets hit hard at the hoops, and Minson's going to jump on the ball. There's still a loose ball. Now Stars has it. Stars over to Heald. Heald shot blocked by Minson really high in the zone. Fight from between Heald and Potter. Ball loose on the ground. Here's Minson. Now Minson's going to look to drive. Trade of beats at the top from Aiello Silver. Baird ripping through the tackle, but Minson stays on his feet. Minson shoots. He scores.
And Minson coming into the Quaffle game has been a spark plug for New York.
And that's that physicality. He makes a big hit, and he turns the other way, and you can't bring him down. Bayer got a good rap and couldn't finish it.
Kellen Cupid's now in the game, getting his first shot here at Cooper, but Burgess does beat him away. And now Tyler Trudeau is in the game.
Trudeau getting a first time to look at the snitch. Here's Cole driving down the center of the field. Cole pressured by Lee. There's a screen from Bear. Cole faking. Finds Heald. Easy goal. 80-80. Trudeau makes the dive. No good. Can't find it.
Trudeau's size, though, and physicality is definitely giving Cooper, I think, his biggest scare of the day so far.
Ing does beat out Trudeau, but gets beat out by Howard. Jackson looking to slowly take it up the field.
Colin Bourne in the game for the first time at beater for Washington alongside Howard.
Kerry Donnelly as well for New York. All right, Trudeau, another look. Trudeau.
A long beat from Donnelly there just to buy Cooper some time.
That's big for Washington. That just puts them in a position of control. Mike Lee, far left side, trying to drive. Kicks to Morella. Morella trying to find Jackson, but Jackson, I guess, is beat out of the play by Howard. Great play from Howard. Here comes Bear down the field. Bear's got stars flying, but Bear's going to take it herself, and she scores. 90-80.
Man, we are going back and forth down the stretch here. We've got 2 more games of this, Harry.
I love this game. Jenerick got beat out or pulled off broom there, and he's going to run back to his hoops real quick. Washington has held control over the snitch. Trade of beats there. Now Kellen Cupid gets a look. Ooh, he was close on that one. There's a fight. There's a pull. That's Kellen Cupid.
And that is a questionable tactic there by TJ Jenerick. He jumped into the pile and forced Cooper into an impossible situation, and it's Cupid who comes up with the grab.
And Cupid thinks he knows it's posing for the crowd, as he does. Love that from Kellen Cupid.
We'll wait for the call. If it is good, New York will catapult into the lead. It is good. They will need 2 more goals, and Washington will need 4.
And a nice little dance from Cupid to see himself off the field.
We always get the salsa from Kellen on the way out.
Love that from Kellen. Gotta feel it when you're that hot of a seeker. Washington missed 1 beat. Cupid took a chance. He got his opportunity. Jenerick tried to force something, just like you said, and it doesn't work. That's the young aspect of Jenerick.
Yeah.
Of just trying to make something happen, even if it's not the right move. All right, 115-90 is the score. New York is 2 away. Washington is 4.
And New York's just going to have to take it back there because they had none of their beaters in the play.
I think it's fine right now for New York to do that. I guess that's one reset. Jackson's trying to argue that it isn't because it's some off of a whistle, but it is going to be a reset. All right, Jackson on the far left side. Screen from Morella. Donnelly throws a bludger back to Junior just to make sure she protects it. Here's Morella. Over to Potter. Potter pressured by Bourne. Back out to Morella. Covered by Bear. Donnelly makes the beat on Bear.
Big chance here with bludger control to get a goal.
Jackson. Cole's the keeper at the top of the zone. Cannot get beat there. Jackson. Patience. He has all the time in the world. Screen. Fights through his Cole.
Time no longer a factor in this one.
Mike Lee's making fast cuts behind the hoop, and Riley Stars has to stay with him. Over to Potter. She's able to catch this ball. She's got plenty of time. Morella. Morella driving.
The question is, what is New York looking to run off of here? Are they trying to force a no bludger? Because they get it here.
No, Bourne makes a great play to force the bludger control back to Washington. This beats out Morella. It's picked up by Stars. Stars is fighting for it. He's going to get it. Stars now. Over to Heald. Heald shoots. She scores. 110-100. Riley Stars and Colin Bourne. Energy plugs off the bench.
Hey, and you know, as people are getting tired, that's why you go into the depth of your bench. Those are fresh legs. Riley Stars had a good first shift, and he goes flying into the lane, picks that off, finds his streaking teammate.
All right, here comes a new beater pair for Washington. It's Smith and Nardone. Nardone, the absolute staple of this Washington beating core.
Yep.
Jackson with Quaffle. Oh, good beat from Nardone. Nardone now looking to put pressure. Dodges the beat as Mullins and Nardone. Smith trying to put pressure. Cole's just going to field this out of the air. Oh, it's a fight for the ball. Ball's loose on the ground. They're just fighting for the situation to have this ball.
And it does roll out of bounds. Definitely some interesting factors at play there with the keeper being one of the 2 players who went up for the ball. It'll be interesting to see how this gets delegated out. By the way, just going back to an earlier call, the call we weren't sure about, Lexi Rafa had an illegal swat away from the ball of a bludger. That's what stopped that play.
We love when we get the check-ins about the calls so we know what's happening.
Shout out to our producer, Nick Jablonski.
We do love Nick Jablonski. Nick Jablonski, we love you. Okay, looks like the call behind the hoops are I think they're trying to decide who hit it out of bounds. Both Cole and Lee went up for that ball and just got tied up trying to get it, but the question is who touched it last, so whose ball it is.
Yeah, and my concern here for New York is that we've seen, I think, more interesting ideas in the half-court offense from Washington than we've seen from New York. If New York can find 2 transition goals to win the game, great, good for them. But eventually I think they're going to need to find a half-court goal. And that last possession we saw, the really lengthy one where they really never even brought it into the zone until Colin Bourne finally won that exchange. They had budget control that whole time. They never even threatened the hoops, and they need to find that if they're going to score a couple more goals and win this one.
What's interesting about it is that Jackson and this New York team have played this somewhat fast-paced, high movement, high energy, high cutting style all day. The ball hasn't stuck on one person's hand. It's been moving around constantly. The whole New York team is touching it. And on that possession, it went back to classic New York. It went back to the old school New York, the New York that plays really patient, that plays looking for those shots, looking for very clear, efficient styles of play, these little things. But I feel like that only works when every single person is on the exact same page. But in this situation, Jackson's just holding it by himself, and the only one who really was on that same page was Morella. And they just couldn't find anything with it, so it's just stuck on Jackson.
Yeah, and I think the problem is, and we've seen this for basically a year and change now since this was all implemented, when you start getting close to your set score, people start tightening up. And it's something we never used to have in Quidditch because there wasn't that moment where you need to score that next goal, and people sometimes struggle to find it.
Right. It was going to be Washington Balls, last hit by New York. Cole has it. Bludgeon control is with New York, though. Mullins was able to get control late in that play at the very end of it from a trade beat with Nardone. It is Cole. He's played a lot this game, and he has really proven the Team USA.
Yep.
Cole, there's some trade of beats at the top there. Junior gets beat at the hoops. Nardone's fighting for the ball. It's going to be Nardone who gets it, but he's only going to get one back as Junior was able to touch up. Now it's a press coming here on Junior and Cole. Cole trying to kick to Heald. She does. I don't think that was a reset. And there's Bayer now with it. So I think they were able to keep it from being a reset. Good play from Washington to play possession.
Yeah, and Cole was never interested in trying to take on Lee. Lee is such a stout point defender for this team.
That's Mike Lee. I keep forgetting there's two Lees on the team, so we had to make sure. Devin Lee, Mike Lee.
Fair
Mike
enough.
Lee's the chaser. Justin and Cole. Brian Mulcahy coming into the game, making a flying cut on the other side, but they picked him up pretty quick.
He wants to pass Cole, not interested in it. Really patience here out of Cole.
Mullins gets beat out there from Nardone. Junior's going to keep control. The shot is good from Mulcahy.
Mulcahy rockets one through. We are all knotted up in first two goals. Technically 115, 110.
115, 110 the score. Both first to two is the game. And Mulcahy has made a huge jump as a player when he really started to develop that shot. When he started to develop it, he's made him an amazing player.
Leading scorer for Washington last summer, showing it up again in a big way here so far this summer.
All right, 115, 110. John Jackson on the right side. Leo Freed into the game, and Devin Lee. Devin Lee fighting through tackles. Now back to Mike Lee.
What an insane block there by Lee. But again, they can't drive through.
Justin Cole made a great defensive play on Mike Lee. Rachel Heald got on the ball, then it got back to Cole. Great defense from Washington. Justin Cole has played up to that Team USA name that he has now.
Yeah, we were talking about Rachel Silver. She was definitely playing up to it earlier in the game, but Cole is so big defensively, really both ends of the ball. He's been so good for this team. Another huge stop after Devin Lee made a heck of a play with a point-blank block to force the no-budger situation.
And he is threatening again. Nardone gets beaten, forces the throw back to hoops. Cole throwing all the way behind the hoops, and it's just to avoid anything to happen.
There's going to be a bludger back, but they're looking to run in transition
Here
against
comes
Swan.
Jackson. Stars gets beat. Jackson gets a head of steam, driving, finding Freed. He scores.
And it is next goal wins. We talked about it. New York was not able to score in the half court. They finally get that transition attempt. And what is it? It's what it's been all game for them. It's Devin Lee.
He has been everywhere. And then Yanko's going to come back into the game here now for New York. It's Yanko, Morella, Freed, Jackson in the quaffle game, Devin Lee, Tessa Mullins in the beating game.
And I did misspeak. It's not next goal wins. It's next goal for New York. Still two more for Washington. They need a goal in this possession. They did get bludger control out of that transition goal. That's the only silver lining.
But I love the sellout for New York. You know they only need two, and so they're trying to get the goal. They don't care what the situation is. They're getting the goal.
And that's not a classic New York thing either, so it's good to see them doing that.
And it worked. All right, Cole with quaffle, pressured high by Freed. He's just going to run away. Ooh, block from Lee. Farnan does keep control there. Great play from Heather Farnan to keep control. There's a lot of pressure. This goal to Mulcahy. Oh, he dodges a tackle, but he drops the ball behind the hoops. Jackson put a lot of pressure there to make that happen. Mulcahy and Littleton, the 2-point defenders, had to fly back into the field. Farnan is beat here, I guess. Here comes Morella. Morella gets a screen. Her shot, it's good. Lindsay Morella wins it for New York.
She goes end to end and hits the mid-range shot in the biggest moment. You need your stars to shine. Devin Lee, John Jackson, Lindsay Morella push this team through.
Titan performance from the veterans of the Titans, and they get it done. 135 to 110, taking game one in this one. A humongous victory
Yep, and now Washington's going to have to go back to the drawing board in the next 15 minutes and figure out, what they're going to do to stop Devin Lee.
I mean, it's going to take a lot to do because Devin Lee all over. Ooh, fireworks. Sorry. Did not expect that one. But huge win there from the Titans. Devin Lee just playing out of his mind. Rachel Ayala-Silver playing out of her mind. Those two all over the field on every single play. It allowed New York to play this fireworks. That's what the bangs are. Sorry, apologies. They played out of their mind and allowed New York to play this mark. It let them get out in pressure, let them get a press attack. For those at home, these bangs you may hear in the background, that's fireworks that are going off after the New York win. But those two played crazy and allowed New York to get into fast break opportunities, and it let this New York team play aggressive. This New York team, for the first time in a long time, they played they played really aggressive on the offensive end, and this offensive end was huge for them. We're going to go into the break now for this game. New York gets the first game, 135-110. We're going to see you in about 10 minutes for game 2. This is Harry Greenhouse with
Ethan Sturm,
and we'll see you later.